Hello, it's working. So previously in the series of programming our project, we are creating our methods to access the information by our simple database, right? So now I'm implementing, so I change the visibility operator to private. So the others layers don't can be accessed writing. It's obligatory using these our methods. Good. So let's create other things this because I click on the collapse all to everything we are creating for our application, the repository interface, to define the roles, the things that we need implementing the future. But it's no better place to left this because I would like using this to the implemented class, okay? So I define a place to create our interfaces. So inside the modules, I create a new folder to use for my namespace. And I made the name to repository, no, sorry, interface. Good. We are creating the interface, and inside the interface, I creating our layers to interface. So for this part of code, we will need the interface for our repositories. But let me think better. How we are for now we only working to only one interface. Okay, let's create a namespace for each repository for our layer for our interface. Okay, in the future you are, okay, you understand the things I promise for you. Okay, so let's creating like a repositories, and I creating this product repository for this place. Okay, so creating add a new item, the change to use like an interface, the product repository. Okay, and back for this, creating before I copy, only copy the methods, no real methods, but our contracts. Okay, I add the visibility operator selector and add the reference using our shortcut control plus dot. Using that's it. It's enough for our interface, and I deleted this from infrastructure repository. Okay, so I deleted this option, left only this. Very nice. And now we are creating in our class to implement this interface. So add a new item, and I call this, the type is class, our product repository implementation. Very nice. And I declare I would like that my class implementing this interface. So to implementing, I using dot point, insert the interface name. If you don't found, if my code don't found this, I using the control dot. So add the reference, and I need using again control dot to error I received because my code not implementing this interface. So your does not implement the interface member, so you need creating 8 method implementing in your class. So to implementing this, clicking the again in this interface using control dot and choose the option implement interface. Okay, so now we have everything created. Nice. But before we needing access our database, our object database. So I need using this information. So let's create an object, simple database, control dot to add reference, the name is only database. Okay, and then keep setting this other feature, read only database, and we are implementing the dependence injection for this class. And for using this, we need creating our constructor. So I'm creating the product repository implementation and pass for my signature of method the object in my database receive this database object by signature. In my code, my application responsible to creating the time to initializing this object, and we already see this, but only to remember in the startup class I have this configuration, my configure service method. Okay, so and I configure the things to only once time using the singleton to create only once on time my simple database. Okay, only one time. Very nice. So let's implement this operation in this place. So let's creating first. Okay, so I call my database object, and remember we are already creating this operation in these layers. Remember in the last videos we have these options, so I'm using now this option. So pass creating, and I need to pass the parameter product. Good. For delete, it's the same thing. I have my database, and I need to call the operation delete and pass my parameter ID. Get by ID, I need using the database to get by ID method, pass the ID. And for completing this option, I need to return something because I requesting product, so I need to return this product. Okay, good. And for get list, we have the very similar. I use my database object to call the get method, and to complete it, we need to return this operation. Nice. And for last, I call my database, do update operation using the product. Ooh. So I completed the implementation for my repository. Woohoo! Now let's configure the dependence injection, okay? Because I have my interface and I would like using this product repository in the other layers. And for this, I need to implement this configuration very similar like we are creating to our context, okay? So if you need to configure implement the setup for the things, you're using the startup class. Let's copy only the name for the class for easily the things. So after my database, I using the services and I using the option add scoped. I have this option to set up the things using only a class, but I have the other option where I pass in the two parameters. The first is this interface, and the second is the class that's implementing this interface. Okay, so I need to add the reference, so control dot using the dot, the using option, and I add these two namespace. Okay, one for my interface and the other for my repository class. So this is like I configure the dependence injection for my repository. Good. For now, it's okay. If you back for our controller, you can't verify the things broken because you don't have more access for this option. And the type, they resulted to DTO, and now we are changing to using the products. Remember, because it is use the writing form to using the type object, and so in the future we need to change implementing this translation between entity and DTO object, but in the future we will creating this. For now, we are completed the repository. Very nice. In the next video, we are creating other layer for our application. So let's see in the future. Bye.